it's not over yet. GOAT status on the line though. Some people with a comeback story, and then you have Seti and Cammy, the only ones playing maximum defense on top in first place right now. It's all here in the last leg of the race.
It's all about this moment. It's all about these drops. Can you make your most of your chance as you hop off of the battle bus? And certainly will be a hot one for sure. As we head all around the map, these battles are so intense.
And Thomas and Tayson, when it comes to game number 3 overall that we just saw, I think they were in it as much as we were, Levin. Maybe just 3 seconds, maybe close to 0. They didn't get a chance to play. They've been sitting around for 50 minutes due to that halftime break, waiting for a chance to rock at it again. Off spawn for them is going to be absolute trouble.
Yeah, and off spawn for Pinkin and Ass against Clix and Dukes is one that is very, very hot and intense. One that isn't really friendly. It started off very friendly. 2 players who very much are familiar with each other in Pink and Clix, but now having to battle it out, all in the name of winning the Battle of the Joneses.
Yeah, so much on the line with Future FNCS. This is even the Invitational coming up. You want to have a controller of this overall POI. Janus, though, active. Vino down. Aqua. It looks like they're fighting a double front type of war right now, and they're winning.
Yeah, it seems like a freeway battle over there towards the south of Greasy, and not one that Vino will be very happy about, of course, having to leave Aqua in a clutch situation. But already we're seeing how intense these Osborne battles can be, with all these teams desperately needing to stay alive.
Seems like a lack of patience for some. They're really going for the all-in overall, all across the map. That could be dangerous for some of these teams that need a little bit of a setup. Need to first get their loot ready and then go. They're not really good at those adaptive types of fights, but we've seen crazy clips from Cash Cups. We've seen multiple seasons of clutch plays. I'm pretty sure everyone is on the line, ready to go for that, though. Trippern down, Phantom also gone. Is that a full conversion? On the duo is the question. I'm not sure where Hellfire is. He's still alive on the top right. He needs to clutch this one.
You say alive, but barely, right? Not working with much HP whatsoever, and the time is ticking with no materials. It's literally going to come down to his shotgun aim and this med miss to have any hope in the 2v1.
Hope kind of diminishing overall because looks like a teammate's brought back into the competition. Gentle gets Phantom back into the land of reality, and they're going to be looking for the next shot into this one. It's Hellfire gone. A top 10 potential fizzling away.
Another game where it doesn't quite go their way. The emotes come out. That's going to sting for the next 45 minutes. They have to sit there and ponder where everything went wrong, and things also seemingly going wrong here for Amar as he falls down. Refsguard isn't working with much, and
no way!
Isn't working with anything. He gets taken out, and look who it is. It's Mitro and Milan. Who else other than them to rock up and spoil the party?
Mitro to the moon, but what does that mean for Refsguard? A top 20 type beat, a chance to maybe come back into the competition. He raised the hand, and Milan just said no, drown. There's no chance you're coming back in the last 3 games.
There was a lot going on there, and I promise you I was not expecting it to be the Dutchman to roll through and absolutely close the situation. Dukes now having to try fend off as a solo, and doing a good job so far.
Nice.
And taking out both Spy and Hero. I know match for the King Dukes. And so now opting to run away because Fahad and Mansour still on the chase.
Has higher rarity loot right now, so that damage, it will be on the side of Duke. Bravado looking for his chance to really get into this fight. Duke, though, effective from all different sides. It's a whole duo he has to kind of fight with. This is going to be tough so far. Mansour on his walls. He's also running out of mats. This is the last leg for Duke. It looks like a chance to maybe come back into this game. And he's going to be stopped in his tracks.
And that's a painful, painful way to go down after winning a 1v2. Getting swept up just like that can be one that sits on your mind for a while, but he can't afford it to linger in his head. Pinkin and Nash will be very happy to see those two going down in the feed. The less they are successful, the more it benefits them. And so far, these two at the Joneses will be pseudo-victorious, not directly winning the battle, but winning the war right now. Q-Jack, Nator, they could potentially be a team to get involved in this though, and you can see already looking to take shots onto Pinkin and Nash, but they're too aware.
They've been the speed bump inside Gamers8 so far, both in Zero Build and in Standard Battle Royale on both days so far. Any team that clashes with them, it seems like their tires get punctured, their momentum gets stopped. They're a very, very tough force to overcome, and they're in the very dead center of the map, so we'll see exactly who they affect over at Rave Cave. Thomas HD and Falcons Tayson on home soil, ready to see exactly what they can do.
We saw them go down in this battle earlier today, and that's something they won't want to repeat. Kai and Drafter will do everything they can to make that happen though. The cheers from the crowd will root them on and spur them into that. But for Thomas and Tayson, it's all about not losing your cool. The zone isn't there, so you don't have all the time in the world to sit here at Rave Cave, but they will want to take this patiently, want to take it slow.
For this duo, they're kind of like, they kind of remind me of a Phoenix overall in terms of how they power up. At first, it might be a bad game before rebirth, but as a small little chick, they want to be able to rise, have their wings lit with fire, want to make it to the end game. That's where they really end up having so much control. That's where their defense really works. Off spawn, yeah, Kai, draft, one good shot. They can snip those wings before they get lit ablaze. Hopefully, they'll be able to just stay hidden and get right by. Q-Jack, Nator, coming up against their first opponents. Looks like it's Steno and Lucia overall on the right side, but they don't actually see them just yet. Q-Jack, gotta be careful of that HP.
Yeah, they have opportunities here, but they need to stay more alert. Like Pinken and Asso, when they try to take shots onto them, the Danes will be ready and waiting. But these are the sort of little engagements that happen all around, right? Teams just sort of taking little jabs and blows at each other. Not anything too serious, not breaking out into a full battle. But these are the potential moments that allow for full battles, right? Where Fahad just waiting here, knows there is a team, and knows that if he hits the right shots, things could go their way. But again, Steno and Lush having that sixth sense, moving away, and that won't be demise for them. But Mansour and Fahad, again, will be a team that continues to be hungry. They know they need damage. It's been an issue for them in some of these games. And that could be all at the hands and expense of some of the teams higher up in the standings who need a good game.
It's all about where you're on those boards and how each Elam kind of moves you up and down. Macwin and Threads hasn't been looking too good for them overall throughout the day. I don't even see them in the top 20 so far. Yeah, 38th. They've been having some struggles inside the Battle Royale competition up against Blake and Scope. So it's an NA battle in and itself.
And an NA battle between two teams that just quite haven't, you know, managed to hit the park, right? They've just been below the average standard of what they would have come into the competition expecting to achieve. And in some ways, that's a good thing for both, right? Both sort of riding with that mentality of, look, we have to put our all into this. It's all we can possibly do. It can't get worse for us.
Still, for them, doesn't matter what happens. If they have one really good game, tens and thousands of dollars of a difference. Cammy, usually I'm worried in this spot, but my man is so just bent on getting the zone, getting to the best spot possible with Seti to set up. He always takes damage.
But this is part of some of the day two struggles they have had in the past, right? You're already seeing the timings are off for them. There are teams rotating into this area way too earlier than they're ready for. And being caught out is something that will continue to be a theme for that team if they aren't alert as to the threats around them. Fahad, though, a potential threat towards Pinken and Ass as he looks to break into their box.
You keep mentioning threats. The scariest teams I'm seeing right now are coming in from the Middle East. It seems like they have less to lose. They're hungrier in these back three games. The rest of EU right now, the top 10, they're playing reserve. They're focusing on the trophy. Middle East, they're just rolling right in.
Yeah, clearly the ones who are feeling it right now. A bit more loose, a bit more freedom in the way they're moving around. And clearly the teams higher up in the standings, right, who maybe aren't quite there, are just a bit too tentative, right? Not wanting to make a mistake, not wanting to leave themselves exposed.
The pressure that Anas is probably feeling right now, stuck in a box fight, way towards the right side of the zone. Easy time for pressure to come in from a third party as well. He doesn't want to be in that spot. Rapid here as well with Peak, forcing another fight on another side, a completely different region. It's NA, it's Blake and Scope, but they will not go down easy.
Yeah, Peak gonna make it a bit more difficult for them, but as long as he hides around here, he should be fine if they don't find him too quickly. Scoped and Blake now scurrying around the builds in an attempt to find some breathing room. And that's a good thing to do because Macwood is very low in threats, having to do quite a lot now if they want to have a chance of staying alive.
Okay, Fahad also active, up against Anas and Pink. We blinked, we missed it. There was some type of pressure. Anas is like, wait a minute, I know who I am. Do you know who I am? You must not, let me show you.
Yeah, he's not been able to show much so far in the Battle Royale, but certainly showed earlier in previous competition. And I'm sure the Falcon boys will not be too happy about what they have seen out of him. It's going to be a big wrench in their backside. You can see they're hungry to close things out. They won't be satisfied with just the one. They want both, and both is what they'll get. And the cheers from the crowd aren't going to be ones in the favor of the Falcon boys this time round, but for Pinken and Ass, a good start for the rest of the game.
Really good speed in finishing that engagement as well. You end up with so much more loot to be able to use. The shield keg still intact, the minis as well. Straight into Pink's inventory. Knight and Rogue Shark, one of the more interesting stories overall here today in all 4 days. They always seem like they have a sense of control. They're on a mission to get to a certain spot. The firepower might not be as good as their positioning sometimes. Other times just surprised by a few teams that have adapted to many situations right now. They're always on the outskirts of the entire island, no matter what the zone is. Hopefully they can find a way in not only to the zone, but higher placements as well.
Yeah, and the higher placements aren't beyond their reach, right? They sit just outside of that top 10. And so just 1 or 2 good games here or there as we go towards the finishing line could make the difference between thousands and thousands of dollars.
And who are they looking at from the outside in? It's duos like Acorn and Edgy on screen right now who are nowhere near the edge of zones. They're looking to be almost dead center. I say that though, and they are actually right on the edge. So we're chilling. It did update a little bit. We'll wait for the next one. I just like the way this team's playing. They allow everyone else to change their game plans and stuff, but they stay true to how they attack Fortnite.
Yeah, part of their fluid style and their fun style, it seems, is these cooler, more creative opportunities for Surge, right? Sitting in the bush, they know there's going to be plenty of players rotating in towards this side of the zone, and so they'll be ready and waiting to get a free beam. And whoever they do catch out certainly might be slamming some desks here or there. Very frustrating way, and if Milan and Mitra aren't careful and they go towards that side of the zone, it could be them. They do look like they are on the east side and so can potentially avoid that, but a team that they will 100% want to avoid will be the ones in front of them. Anderlecht and Scram, they have been so strong. They found a good rhythm, and that might be not the tone that Mitra wanted to hear. The shield's cracking. Milan now having to come to his teammate, brother, you got to stay cool. You can't go down now. We still got a journey to get to the zone.
They play defense, and on the other side of the map, Maximum Defense is also active. Scoped and Blake take out Pink and an Os.
That is huge. But you're seeing it's not going to be a healthy situation for them. It looks like it's Bloomy and Arab who want to rock up in third party. These are the battles we talk about all day long. Scoped and Blake take out powerhouses in Pinkin, and that's only to be brushed under the carpet by the big Bloomy and Boomer Arab.
Arab basically saying there's a cost to be using my IRL stream equipment. It's not only getting thrown in a pool, it's also being taken out in the desert.
Yeah, that is definitely a way to cool Blake and Scope down, chucking them way in the deep end. But for Bloomy and Arab, can they be disruptors? We know their mentality going into these final games will be all or nothing. We have nothing to lose. And that is something scary for anybody below or above them in the standings.
Arab always finding the most creative ways to get into certain zones. Gentle and Phantom, their reign of interruption doesn't end either. Edge zone, perfect ways to fight for a long time, and they're locked into this one. So many heals to be able to use as well. Up against Cal and M7 as well. This is going to be just tough overall for both teams. You know that the crowd wants both sides to win.
The big thing for both these teams is that what are they fighting for here? Both of them very comfortably above Surge. Both looking good in terms of materials and resources, and I'm glad to see them sort of disengaging right now because neither of these teams need to fight each other.
It might just be a PTSD effect. I haven't seen those two teams specifically rotate with each other. If you're up against like Kami and Seti rotating like that, you leave one wall open, you're based up a little bit. If you're not active and taking shots, your walls are getting torn down, so you can kind of sense, you know, the jitteriness, the struggle of these last 3 games. And we get even hotter and drier as we pull more towards Chonker Speedway.
Yeah, and that's going to be a rotation that a lot of these teams will be dreading to make as they move their way on in. So many good positions for teams to sit in and block your way to zone. For Malabuka and Epic though, not an impossible task, and Malabuka already scouting out the path towards the zone.
500 above. When it comes to games where the end game, the terrain looks a little bit more horizontal, Epic Malabuka are just so good at working so many different angles from boxes. I think that's been their specialty. They've been doing it better than any other team so far. If they get center-ish zone, build up a big base, they might just get too much control, end up winning this game. Already another vertical type diagonal angle, looking over at Vico and Jelty, putting up a little bit of pressure. These guys are never silent.
Yeah, I think if anything, right, Kami and Seti's, eagerness to look for height has helped them out, right? We're so used to seeing Malabuka clashing with those guys on the mid-ground. It's always about who will be the more dominant mid-ground team between the two. But Malabuka allowing Epic to sort of sub his way on in and just cruise in some of these mid-game situations is definitely something he'll be very happy about.
I just think that pairing him with Epic Will is just such a genius thing for the duo. It kind of puts a little bit of temperament on Malabuka. He makes some big swing calls sometimes. A new teammate, though, he thinks twice about a lot of things. They stay more consistent.
100%, especially with how great Epic's fundamentals are. Never straying too far away from his teammate, always right by his side. And that's exactly what you need from your teammate when the going gets tough. It's something that this team has lacked very much today. Cian and King have had some high highs, but when it's been low, it's been very low. Oftentimes, one of them playing as a solo, trying to clutch up in some way. But like you said earlier, Shayo, a solo in this lobby is not a thing you want to be.
Yeah, CN and King, they kind of reminded me of two arms and a body, always working in tandem. Today, though, broken bones on day 2. It's so much tougher. The competition does not even let you slack for a minute. Edgy and Acorn will be the ones trying to operate on CN right now, but my man's running away from the surgery table. He does not want anything to do with it at all. Bizzle and Dubs in the business. We saw them take a win overall, and they're still looking good now.
Yeah, I think they definitely need to pick up the pace quite a little bit. But for sure, a team to be optimistic about. This is not an optimistic situation, Shayo. Going down to Surge or going down to opponents when you're up above Surge is never ideal. But for Vico and Jelty, this is a team that hasn't performed at the level they would have wanted to. Vico known for his pop-offs, Jelty as well, a fan favorite over from NA West. And it's a combination that I was excited about but hasn't quite worked together. And both of them are feeling that, both of them know they have to step up, they have to get better in these last final games.
Try their best for now, and they are up and in. Every team that's struggling though right now, they're hesitant. They're not making one decision. They're thinking about 3 different ones at the same time and are not sure when to actually make the call to move in. As a result, Milan Mitro losing a bunch of their shields to get to this spot. They have to move once again, but they have to be decisive as they do it.
And we've not necessarily associated that team with being one that makes clean decisions, right? Sometimes, often being a bit too rash. And so with all these teams around them, all these prizes, which one would they put their eyes on? My goal would be to just get to the zone, but I doubt it will be that simple for this team.
I mean, you talk about decisiveness, Acorn, Edgy, they've told us in interviews, they share a brain. You can see it right now from Acorn. Does not care about any team even building beside him. He wants to get to a spot. Edgy will be there to support the decision. Ramps up on the right side to stop Macwood. Bizzle and Dubs, they're kind of going back and forth. You can just see the difference in decisiveness and hesitation. Acorn already in. Look at the spot. So great, taking 0 damage using 5 builds.
The setup is certainly looking good, right? The key now will be looking for opportunities to find some form of a refresh, to get their materials back up so they can continue to move as smoothly as they have been.
It's so tough though in a spot like this. No one really ends up basing so close beside you. There's no big mobility to get you into that portion of the zone. It's just a few grapple gloves and some inventories around this map. Dubs and Bizzle, they take the safer route. They're assessing each and every single box. They're choosing exactly where to set up, and it's the middle of everyone. That's actually really genius. Still on the outskirts, if any one person goes down, they can just start to rattle on the walls and affect the closest duo. Right now, that's Hen and Queasy.
And down below there will be opportunities for them to get shots onto Hen and Queasy if they are patient enough, if they do wait their time on out. Certainly not going to be a patient situation for Leleo there. Angrily taking shots towards those walls, as he understands that those players are incredibly weak, and it's an understanding shared amongst Thomas and Tayson. But if they're not careful, they'll be right in that same spot where everybody has their eyes on them. And this is perfect, right? Using that grapple glove just to take that loot. If they can't get the confirmation onto Rogue Shark, at least they've profited from the situation indirectly.
It's just nice that we're going back and forth between Pulga and Thomas and Tayson. I mean, if Fortnite was the chessboard, these two duos would be the white pieces. They always make the first move. And you can see it right now. The 4 people who are active, actually stopping Rogue Shark from getting into the zone, it's those 2 duos.
Yeah, and it's not just any sort of chess player. We're talking about grandmasters here. Players who will constantly make the right decisions when given the opportunity. And with a big distance to go to get to zone, I'm sure there'll be plenty looking to follow their right decisions. This is not great decisions, to be fair, I'll be real. Steno, it's not looking good, my friend. Has lost Lucia along the way, and now running out of materials as well. And with so many different players around him, understanding his vulnerability, it's going to make that journey to zone that much more difficult. He does have the grapple gloves if needed, and so topping up his shields will go a long way.
They struggle right now, but there's one duo not surviving. We called it out, the position for Bizzle and Dubs. They did exactly what we thought they were going to do. Hen and Queasy caught lacking in that low ground barn position. They will go down, and you can see how much space they control now. No one talks about this. When you get a kneel in, you not only get the loot, you get all the pressure that other team made coming in from wherever they were dropping on the map. They got so much room to move now, so much info, they're still rocking.
And the timing is perfect from this team. They are moving so swiftly. They know all the other teams have started to get in. And so now, opting to move forward, it's fine that they have to stop. That's cool. They'll continue to move, though. And a bit of wood being used along the way isn't too bad either. Bizzle and Dubs, can they continue to get into zone and get into the God's drop?
They need so much more in terms of even fights. I understand why they were going for Hen and Queasy. They're only 31 above, and they've got no match. Similar position for Milan right now. It is 357, but look at the situation for Mitro. Low HP, they have to bully Malabuka. Might interrupt second place in their game as they try to catch up to Seti and Cammy. Milan still moving forward, elevating layers. This will cost him so much. I'm not sure he has that in his map.
And I don't think Mitro has enough to even catch up to him and stay together. That duo is in disarray. And you can see Mitro has gone down in the storm. He wasn't able to keep up. It was just an impossible task.
Bankruptcy for that man. Fahad though running straight into the box. These men don't care. Still going for a few more shots. This late into the stage of the game, they're getting close and personal. Medmist is what they have left after all these fights.
Yeah, but these guys have nothing left on our screens. And we know what that means in Fortnite. That means they're going to go all in for something. You cannot afford to be caught lacking. And for Tayson and Thomas, they certainly won't be. Already waiting for that zone, already understanding the position they have at the front side. And they hold the keys to the lobby as they continue to move on through. This is where they want to be, looking back at the breast of the players and taking shots onto everybody as they move on through.
18 points overall of a difference for Tayson and Thomas. For these two guys specifically, this game is so important to stay in that race. They trip a little bit, they're left in the dust. Chapix and Zandy, they're not done yet. Possibly even pushing for that back-to-back. They have that high ground. This is where they won before.
Another game where they want to play from height, and another game where they're playing it well, moving to that front side, but need to be wary of all the teams looking to try to take it. Chapix already building up like it's playground here, and he will secure it, he will hold on. But for how much longer, with all these eyes potentially on it, it's going to be about moving through the rest of these zones efficiently.
Desperation running hot inside the desert, and that heat rises towards the skies. You can feel it from Chapix and Zandy. They want to seat back inside the top three. They're going to start to push for it, and their match tempered well. They have a chance to keep going. Meanwhile, down low, Andalex is just popping right now. Malabuka and Epic, perfect shots, perfect spaces to be at to stop everyone else from moving in. They're causing a traffic jam. Huge for these two, and Tayson and Thomas, they ignore everything. They want to play their own game.
They're at the front of the pack, and they're looking very comfortable. Bizzle sent back to the lobby by Seti and Cammy, though. And so for the team who really has pre-planned everything so well, they can now profit from their good work. Thatch now taking that pressure, and it will be Mustache maybe to take even more if he knocks on the wrong door. But for Zandy and Chapix up above, they can just sit here and wait, allow everybody to do the hard work for them. They still have a couple materials left, and so they should be able to get by, but it will be up to them to keep on holding on. Seti will hold on and pick up another. That's their second of the game. But who will they run into as they traverse through low ground?
They're going to skip everything entirely. Another chance to maybe elevate their layers. Chapix with 8 builds just left. I'm not sure Sonny knows that the battery's running low on the top high ground technology team, but it's going to be tough overall if they go for the challenge. Tayson moving on the backside of zone, somehow lost a little bit of a solo situation. He's in a clash with Seti, going for every shot and every chance, wrapping all the way around, maybe even a 2v1, and it's from the one side. Going to be a pre from Thomas. They're both going to be side by side in desperation. 4 elims on the duel so far, but they don't want to stop up against the box. It's going to be Janice and Kanata. They're not going to find a single bullet. Tayson 1 HP, can't really take any storm damage either. He has to find something on this low ground. Wood builds everywhere. Thomas lost in the storm. Epic also trying to survive his own way. Every single top team having trouble surviving in the desert.
Stuck between a rock and a very hard place. Epic well now will have to put the team on his back as he moves on through. He's lost Malabuka now, and so all riding on the NAS player now to make a moment happen. And everybody else in the lobby looking to make these same sort of moments happen. Frex using the med mist. He does have a bit more charges left in it, but it's all a matter of time until he has to get into the zone.
Everyone's switching over to plan B, but Chapix and Zandy, they haven't even moved the blueprint. They're staying on height. Metabill's looking all right. Nator, the man who can't go down, falls. More action on low ground as Threats is back. Inside play, another person dropping right in front of him. Janice gets taken down. No one sees Threats, but now he's found. Janice affected though. Him and Kanata, the last two left to stop the absolutely victorious reign of Chapix and Zandy.
For a team that definitely was not expected to be here together, but certainly one now that has the chance to vindicate those decisions. Zandy and Chapix, though, they've been so easy breezy here on height. Everything's fallen into place perfectly, and it looks like it's going to continue to go that way. Zandy drops down. Can he connect to the crew? All shots he can. Chapix looking to do the same, but he needs to be careful. It's Janice in his box, but that's no problem for Chapix. He picks up both of them. Zandy and Chapix again.
are just super